Ade. Ade, what are you doing? Mama Busy's nails tore into her son's wrist as she clawed her way toward the edge of the pit. He did not flinch. He pushed her back down with his foot and picked up the shovel. The first pile of soil hit her legs. She screamed, dragging herself forward, fingers digging into the dirt wall of the grave he had dug behind the old barn. He kicked her back in. I carried you for 9 months. I fed you from my own body. The second shovel covered her waist. She reached for his hand, shaking, desperate. He stepped back. Morayo said. Morayo is not your mother. I am your mother. He did not answer. He kept shoveling until her voice went quiet beneath the earth, until her hands stopped reaching, until there was nothing left but disturbed soil and his own ragged breathing. Then Adewale dropped the shovel, turned, and walked back to the house. Back to his wife. She was waiting at the door. Smiling. Stop. If you believe no mother deserves what Mama Busy just went through, hit that subscribe button right now. Tell me where you're watching this from, drop it in the comments. Because what happens next will change everything you think you know about Adewale, about Morayo, and about who the real monster in this story is. Let's go back. 3 weeks earlier. Before the shovel. Before the betrayal. 3 weeks earlier. You're home early. Morayo did not look up from her phone. The site inspection finished fast. Adewale dropped his briefcase by the door. Mama asked of you today. Did she? She said you didn't greet her this morning. Morayo finally looked up. Your mother doesn't like me, Ode. No greeting will fix that. That's not true. Then why does she watch me like I stole something from her? He sat down slowly. She's just protective. Of the land. Of the family name. Protective. Morayo laughed, short and cold. Or she thinks I'm not good enough for her son. Morayo. Do you know what she told my cousin? That I married you for the property papers. Adewale went still. She said that. Ask her yourself. He didn't ask. He never asked. That was the pattern already. Morayo would say a thing, and Adewale would swallow it whole, because arguing with his wife exhausted him faster than accepting whatever she handed him. 2 days later, Mama Busy stood in her kitchen, grinding pepper by hand the way she always had, when her nephew Femi knocked on the open door. Auntie. You wanted to see me. Close the door. He closed it. The papers for the land behind the barn. The ones your uncle left before he died. Where are they? With you, Auntie. You've always kept them. No, she wiped her hands on her wrapper. Someone has been asking about them. At the land registry office in town. Femi frowned. Who? A man. Middle-aged. He gave a company name, Delta Horizon Resources. Never heard of them. I hadn't either. Until I asked why they wanted records for a small family plot behind the barn. She lowered her voice. Femi, that land has minerals under it. Your uncle knew. He told me before he died. He said never sell it, never let it leave the family, no matter what anyone offers. You think somebody wants to buy it? I think somebody already knows what's under it. And I think, she paused, I think Morayo already knows too. Femi's face changed. Auntie, that's a big accusation. Is it? Mama Busy crossed her arms. Since when has Morayo asked about her husband's inheritance so often? Since when does a new wife want to know exactly which papers are in whose name? Maybe she's just being thorough. Maybe. Mama Busy didn't sound convinced. Just help me. Find out who owns Delta Horizon. Quietly. That evening, Morayo sat across from a man in a parked car 3 streets from her house. Tinted windows. Engine running. She's asking questions, the man said. She's always asking questions. Not like this. She went to the registry office herself. Morayo's jaw tightened. How much time do we have? If she finds the geological report before we secure the transfer, the whole deal collapses. Delta Horizon pulls out. We lose the investment. She won't find it. You said that last month too. Morayo turned to face him fully. My husband trusts me completely. His mother is the only obstacle left. And obstacles, she said, can be removed. The man studied her. You're not talking about a lawsuit anymore. I'm talking about whatever it takes. At home, Adewale found his mother waiting for him on the veranda when he returned from work. Ode. Sit with me. Mama, I have an early morning tomorrow. Sit. He sat. I need to ask you something, and I need you to answer honestly. Okay. Has Morayo asked you about the land behind the barn? He hesitated, just slightly, but she caught it. She mentioned it once. She said the family should formalize the paperwork properly. In case something happens to you. In case something happens to me. Mama Busy repeated the word slowly, like she was tasting poison. Ade, that land is not for sale. It is not for transfer. It stays exactly as your father left it, until I decide otherwise. Nobody's trying to sell it, Mama. Then why is a stranger asking about it at the registry office? Adewale blinked. What stranger? A man. Representing a company called Delta Horizon. I don't know anything about that. I believe you. She reached for his hand. But I don't believe your wife doesn't. He pulled his hand back, slowly. Mama, please. Don't do this. Don't make me choose between you and her. I am not asking you to choose, Ode. I am asking you to open your eyes. He stood up. I need to sleep. She watched him walk inside, and for the first time, something cold settled in her chest, not fear for herself, but fear for what her son was becoming, one small silence at a time. That night, Morayo lay beside Adewale, tracing small circles on his chest. Your mother spoke to you today. How did you know that? Femi told his sister. His sister told my hairdresser. She smiled faintly. Village life, Ode. Nothing stays hidden. He sighed. She thinks you're after the land. And what do you think? I think my mother is getting old, and old people get suspicious of everything. Morayo said nothing for a moment, letting the silence work in her favor. Ode, has it ever occurred to you that she doesn't want us to be happy? That every time we get close to something good, she finds a reason to interfere. She's not trying to ruin us. Isn't she? Morayo sat up. She humiliated me in front of my cousin. She questions everything I do. She treats me like a thief in my own home. And now she's sending men to spy on us. She's not spying. Then what do you call following me, asking about my calls, asking your friend to watch my movements? Adewale froze. What? Yes, Ode. She asked Tom to watch me. Did you know that? He didn't know that. He wasn't sure it was even true. But the accusation landed exactly where Morayo wanted it to land, in the soft, tired part of him that just wanted peace in his own house. I'll talk to her again, he said quietly. No, Morayo took his face in her hands. Talking doesn't work anymore, Ode. You've talked to her 100 times. Nothing changes. She will keep coming between us until there's nothing left of this marriage. So what do you want me to do? Morayo's eyes were calm. Steady. Certain. I want you to choose. Once. Clearly. So she understands, finally, that this is your home now. Not hers. He looked at his wife for a long moment. What are you asking me to do, Morayo? She didn't answer right away. She simply smiled, and let the silence stretch long enough for him to start imagining the answer himself. Morning came slow and heavy over the compound. Mama Busy was already outside, sweeping the veranda, when Femi arrived on his motorcycle, breathless. "Auntie, I found something." "Tell me." "Delta Horizon Resources. It's a mining subsidiary. Registered 2 years ago. But the interesting part," he lowered his voice, "one of the listed contacts on their local partnership file is a man named Toby Adisa. That name means nothing to me. It shouldn't. He uses a different name in public. But I checked his old business records. Auntie, Toby Adisa is Morayo's cousin." Mama Busy's broom stopped mid-stroke. "Say that again." "Her cousin, Auntie. Same surname before she married. Same hometown. Everything matches." She sat down slowly on the veranda step. "So it wasn't paranoia?" "No, Auntie. It wasn't. She has been planning this from the beginning." Femi hesitated. "What do you want to do?" Mama Busy stared out at the barn, at the quiet plot of land behind it that her husband had warned her never to release. "I want to talk to my son. Today. Before this goes any further." That evening, Adewale found his mother waiting in the sitting room, papers spread across the center table. "Mama, what is all this?" "Sit down, Ode. I just got back from work, can this wait?" "No. It cannot." He sat, reluctantly. "Your wife's cousin," Mama Busy said, sliding a printed page toward him, "is a director at Delta Horizon Resources. The same company that has been asking about our land." Adewale stared at the page. This could be a coincidence." "A coincidence?" She almost laughed. "Ode, listen to yourself." "Mama, I can't just accuse my wife based on a name on a document. I am not asking you to accuse her. I am asking you to ask her. Directly. And watch her face when she answers." He rubbed his temples. "Why does everything have to be a war between you two?" "Because one of us is lying to you, and it is not me." He stood up, paper still in his hand. "I'll talk to her. Tonight. Tonight." He found Morayo in the bedroom, removing her earrings in front of the mirror. "We need to talk." "About?" He placed the paper on the dressing table beside her. "Toby Adisa. Delta Horizon Resources." Morayo's hand paused over the earring, just for a second. Then she continued, unbothered. "What about him? Is he your cousin?" "Yes. And he's trying to acquire my father's land." She turned to face him. "Ade, I didn't know Toby worked for that company until last week. When I found out, I confronted him myself." "You confronted him?" "Yes. I told him our family land was not for sale, not now, not ever. I told him to remove us from whatever list he had us on." Adewale searched her face. She looked steady. Sincere. Nothing like a woman caught. "Then why didn't you tell me this yourself?" "Because I knew exactly how this would look," she said softly. "I knew your mother would turn it into proof that I'm plotting against this family. I was trying to protect us from exactly this conversation." He sat on the edge of the bed, some of the tension leaving his shoulders. "Mama thinks you're working with him." "Of course she does." Morayo knelt in front of him, taking his hands. "Ade, your mother has never trusted me. Not on our wedding day, not now. Whatever happens, whatever coincidence appears, she will use it against me. Don't you see that?" "I don't want to believe that." "Then don't. Believe me instead." He looked into her eyes, and once again, chose the version of the story that let him sleep at night. "I'll tell her you explain everything." "Thank you, Ode." She kissed his forehead. "This is exactly why I need you to protect our peace." She won't stop until she's convinced you I'm the enemy. Outside, unseen, Connor stood at the edge of the compound gate, watching the lit window of his brother's bedroom. He had not stepped foot on this land in 6 years. Not since the day their father discovered what he had done and ordered him out. He was not here for reconciliation. He was here because an old friend, still loyal to their mother, had called him 2 days ago with a warning. Connor, something is wrong in that house. Morayo has been meeting strange men. Your mother is asking too many questions. I think something bad is coming. Connor had laughed it off at first. Then he remembered his mother's voice the last time they spoke, years ago, tired and searching. Whatever you did, Connor, I will always be your mother. Come home when you're ready. He had not been ready. Not for a long time. But standing outside that gate now, watching shadows move behind curtains, he felt something shift in his chest. He turned and walked into the dark, toward the small guest house he still owned on the edge of the village, the one nobody in the family knew he'd quietly kept. He would watch. He would wait. And if his mother needed him, this time, he would not disappear again. 2 days later, Morayo sat across from Toby in the same packed car, engine idling. Your husband confronted you. And I handled it. Barely. If he starts digging deeper, if he finds the geological survey, this whole thing collapses. He won't find it. He trusts me completely. For now. Morayo lit a cigarette, something she never did inside the house. The old woman is the real problem. She's the one asking questions. She's the one who sent that boy to the registry office. So what do you want to do? I want the transfer signed before the month ends. She'll never sign willingly. Morayo exhaled slowly, watching the smoke curl toward the car roof. Then we don't need her signature. Toby frowned. What are you saying? I'm saying, Morayo said quietly, there's more than one way for land to change hands after someone is gone. The silence that followed was heavier than anything spoken. Morayo, you can't be serious. I am completely serious. And Ode will do exactly what I tell him to do. He always does. Even this. She smiled, cold and certain. Especially this. He just needs the right reason. And I already know exactly how to give him one. Morayo waited 3 days before she made her move. She knew patience mattered more than speed. She found Adewale in the study, going through old files his father had left behind. You're still awake. I couldn't sleep. She sat across from him. Ode, I need to tell you something, and I need you to stay calm. He looked up. What is it? Your mother went to see a lawyer yesterday. What lawyer? Barrister Odian. In town. Adewale frowned. How do you know that? My hairdresser's husband works in his office. She said your mother was asking about changing the ownership structure of the land. Removing your name entirely. That's not possible. That land comes to me automatically, it's written in Papa's will. Wills can be amended, Ode. While the person is still alive. He sat back, the file forgotten in his lap. Why would she do that? Because she's afraid, Ode. Afraid that if something happens to her, I'll have claim to it through you. She wants to lock me out completely. Maybe lock you out too, if she thinks you're too influenced by me. She wouldn't do that to me. Wouldn't she? Morayo's voice softened, careful, deliberate. Ode, I don't want to fight your mother. I never did. But she is trying to erase me from this family, and I think, deep down, she might be trying to erase you too. Just so she keeps full control until the day she dies. Adewale said nothing for a long time. I'll ask her myself. She'll deny it. She always denies everything to your face and does it anyway behind your back. Then what do you want me to do, Morayo? I can't lock my own mother out of her decisions. Morayo knelt in front of him again, her hands on his knees, her eyes glassy, rehearsed but convincing. I want peace, Ode. I want us to stop living under the threat of losing everything because one woman refuses to let go. I want us to finally be safe. So what are you saying? She hesitated, letting the moment stretch, letting him lean forward slightly, hungry for an answer. There's an old practice, she said quietly, that some families still use, when an elder becomes difficult, dangerous to the family's peace. What practice? A cleansing burial. Adewale's face went blank. A what? It's not what you think. It's symbolic, mostly. The elder is placed in the earth for a short time, as a ritual to release whatever spirit or influence has turned them against the family. Aya Akbar still performs it for families who ask, "You want to bury my mother alive?" Briefly, Ode. As ritual. Not to hurt her. To break whatever has turned her so bitter, so controlling. Many families say the elder returns changed. Willing to let go. This sounds insane. Does it? Morayo's voice hardened slightly. More insane than losing everything your father built because one woman refuses to release her grip. More insane than watching her poison every decision in this house until there's nothing left of us. Adewale stood, pacing. I can't do this. You don't have to decide tonight. I won't decide this at all, Morayo. This is madness. She let him walk away that night. She had planted the seed. She knew exactly how long seeds needed to grow in fertile soil. Meanwhile, Kunle sat with their mother in the small guest house at the edge of the village, the first time they had spoken face to face in 6 years. You look older, Mama Busy said quietly. So do you. I've earned it. They sat in silence for a moment, years of distance sitting heavy between them. Mama, I need you to tell me everything. From the beginning. She told him. The land. The minerals. Toby Adisa. The lawyer's visit that never actually happened, the rumor Morayo had almost certainly invented. Kunle's jaw tightened as he listened. She's isolating him from you piece by piece. Yes. And Ode believes her. Ode is tired, Kunle. Tired of fighting, tired of choosing. It's easier for him to believe the person who tells him what he wants to hear. Kunle stood, walking to the window. Mama, I need to ask you something, and I need the truth. Ask. Is the land really that valuable? She nodded slowly. Your father had it surveyed quietly, years before he died. There are mineral deposits beneath it. He never told anyone outside the family. He made me promise never to let it leave our hands. And Morayo knows this now. I believe so. Kunle turned back to her, something hardening in his expression. Mama, listen to me carefully. Whatever she's planning, it's not going to stop at rumors and lawyers. People who want land like this badly enough, they don't stop until they have it. What are you saying? I'm saying you need to be careful. More careful than you've ever been. Mama Busy studied her son's face, the same face that had once broken her heart, now etched with something close to protection. Why do you care now, Kunle? After all these years. He was quiet for a long moment. Because I made a mistake once, a long time ago, that hurt this family. I can't undo that. But I can make sure I'm not the reason something worse happens to you. She reached for his hand, the first gesture of warmth between them in 6 years. Then stay close, Kunle. Something tells me I'm going to need you. Back at the house, Adewale could not sleep. Morayo's words echoed in his mind, twisting slowly into something that felt almost reasonable in the darkness of 2 a.m. A ritual. Symbolic. Brief. His mother, softer, willing to let go. No one gets hurt. He told himself that lie until it felt like truth, until exhaustion and manipulation blurred into something he could finally live with. By morning, when Morayo found him standing quietly in the kitchen, she already knew, from the hollow look in his eyes, that the seed had grown exactly as planned. Ode. Call Aya Akbar, he said quietly. Ask her when the ritual can be done. Morayo's face did not show triumph. She had learned long ago never to celebrate too early. She simply nodded, reached for her phone, and began making the call that would end, 3 weeks later, with a shovel and a grave behind the old barn. If you think Morayo has crossed a line no wife should ever cross, type a guilty in the comments right now. And if you're still not subscribed, this is your sign, because what Connor uncovers next is going to expose everything Morayo thought she buried for good. The ritual was set for 3 weeks later, time to a new moon Aya Akbar insisted was necessary for the cleansing to take hold. Morayo used every one of those days to keep tightening the story around Adewale, small doses, daily, until doubt became fatigue and fatigue became agreement. But 2 days before the burial, something happened that Morayo had not planned for. Toby called her, voice tight with urgency. We have a problem. What problem? Delta Horizon wants to move faster. Corporate is pushing for the transfer paperwork before month end. If it's not signed by then, they are pulling the investment and going after another site nearby. The old woman won't be a problem after this week. That's not the issue anymore. Toby lowered his voice. They want a backup. In case something goes wrong with your plan. They've authorized a direct approach to your husband. Morayo went still. What does that mean? It means someone from Delta Horizon already contacted Adewale directly. 2 days ago. Offered him a personal advisory fee if he pushes the transfer through quietly, regardless of what happens with his mother. You're telling me they went around me. I'm telling you they don't fully trust either of us to finish this. They are hedging. Morayo's hand tightened around her phone. Did Ode accept it? I don't know. That's between him and the man who approached him. She hung up without another word, her mind racing through a possibility she hadn't accounted for. Her husband, quietly bribed, quietly compromised, without her orchestrating it herself. For the first time since this began, Morayo realized she might not be the only one controlling Adewale anymore. That night, she tested the waters carefully. Has anyone from outside approached you recently? About the land? Adewale didn't look up from his plate. Why would you ask that? Just wondering. He was quiet for a moment too long. A man came to my office. Said he represented investors interested in the mineral rights. Said if the transfer happened smoothly, there would be a personal thank you for my cooperation. Morayo's fork paused me there. And what did you tell him? I told him I'd think about it. Ode. What? You want this land moved just as badly as I apparently do, according to your own plan. The words landed sharper than he intended, the first real crack of resentment showing through the exhaustion of the last 3 weeks. Morayo studied him carefully. This was new. This wasn't the version of her husband she had spent months carefully building. This was a man beginning to make his own calculations. Ade, whatever they offered you, it's not worth the risk. If this gets messy, if people start asking too many questions about outside investors, everything collapses. So it's fine when you do it quietly, but not fine when I do. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said. He pushed his plate away. You've spent weeks convincing me my mother is dangerous. Maybe I should start asking who's actually the dangerous one in this house. He walked out before she could answer, leaving her alone at the table for the first time since this began, watching her carefully built control show its first real fracture. 2 houses away, 7-year-old Teo sat on his bed, refusing to eat dinner, refusing to speak, drawing the same picture over and over. A hole in the ground. A woman's hand reaching up. His nanny, worried, brought the drawing to Adewale's sister, who happened to be visiting that week. He's been like this for days, the nanny said. He wakes up crying. He won't tell me why. Adewale's sister studied the drawing, a cold unease settling in her stomach. Teo, she said gently, kneeling beside him. What is this a picture of? The boy stared at the paper, silent. Teo, sweetheart, you can tell me anything. His lip trembled. I saw something. In the back. Near the barn. What did you see? He shook his head, tears spilling over. Daddy said not to tell anyone. He said it was a secret game. Adewale's sister felt the floor tilt slightly beneath her. What kind of game, Teo? The boy looked up at her, eyes wide and frightened. The game where Grandma goes into the ground. Connor received the call from his cousin that same night, her voice shaking as she relayed what Teo had said. I don't understand, she whispered. What is he talking about? What game? Connor closed his eyes, the pieces falling into place with sickening clarity. It's not a game, he said quietly. Listen to me carefully. Where is Teo now? With me. I took him from the house. Good. Keep him there. Don't let Adewale or Morayo know what he told you. Not yet. Connor, you're scaring me. I need you to trust me. And I need you to get a video of Teo describing what he saw, if he'll let you record it. Can you do that? Yes. I think so. Do it gently. Don't push him. But we need proof, before this happens again. Again. Connor, what is happening? He looked out the window toward the direction of his mother's house, jaw tight, heart pounding. I think, he said slowly, we're almost out of time. The following morning, Mama Busy sat across from Aya Agba in the old woman's small compound, the ritual now less than 48 hours away. You seem troubled, Aya Agba said, studying her old friend's face. I don't trust this ritual, Aya Agba. I never have. Then why agree to it? Because my son asked me to. Because for one moment, I thought perhaps this was his way of trying to fix something between us. Aya Agba was quiet for a long time. Busy, I have performed this ritual 11 times in my life. 11 elders placed briefly in the earth, blessed, lifted out before real harm could come. And this will be the 12th. Yes. The old woman hesitated. But I will tell you something I have not told your son. The depth they've requested for the pit. It is deeper than any I have ever used before. Mama Busy's chest tightened. How much deeper? Enough that if something delayed the lifting, even by minutes, Aya Agba did not finish the sentence. Then why would you agree to that depth? Because your son insisted it was tradition, passed down from his wife's family. I had no reason to doubt him. Mama Busy sat back slowly, understanding, for the first time, exactly how far this had already gone. Aya Agba, I need you to promise me something. Anything. If something goes wrong. If I don't come up when I'm supposed to. You go straight to my son, and you make him dig with his own hands. The old woman reached across and gripped her friend's hand tightly. Busy, nothing will go wrong. But even as she said it, something in her old, weathered heart did not fully believe her own words. The night before the ritual, Adewale could not look his mother in the eye. She noticed. She said nothing. Morayo, sensing his hesitation returning, stayed close, her voice a constant murmur of reassurance. It will be over quickly, Ode. She'll come out, comma. This is what's best for all of us. He nodded, but his hands shook when he packed the shovel into the car. The ritual happened exactly as it was shown at the beginning. Mama Busy, pulled from her home at dawn by Aya Agba's assistants under the pretense of tradition, brought to the pit behind the barn. Adewale, shovel in hand, doing what his wife had spent 3 weeks preparing him to do. What nobody told him was that Aya Agba had grown suspicious enough, the night before, to send word to Connor. Whatever is happening tomorrow, her message read, come. Come now. Connor arrived 20 minutes after the burial, too late to stop it, in time to see his brother standing frozen above disturbed soil, breathing hard, refusing to look down. He didn't confront Adewale. Not yet. He waited until his brother walked back toward the house, then he moved fast, digging with his bare hands, shouting for their mother, until finally, impossibly, her fingers broke through the surface. She was alive. Barely. Gasping. Traumatized. But alive. Connor carried her to the guest house, told no one, and began quietly building his case. 3 days later, Theo's recorded statement sat on a tablet in Connor's hands as he walked into the village square, where the elders had gathered for an unrelated land dispute meeting. Mama Busy, still weak, stood beside him, wrapped in a shawl, very much alive. The gasps that rippled through the crowd when she appeared were immediate. Adewale, seated among the elders discussing unrelated matters, turned pale. Mama. Sit down, Adewale, the head elder said slowly, sensing something had shifted the entire meeting. Connor stepped forward. I have something the council needs to see. He played Theo's recording first, the small boy's voice describing, in halting words, what he had seen behind the barn weeks earlier. Then he presented the document. Delta Horizon. Toby Adise's connection to Morayo. The geological survey Mama Busy had protected for years. Morayo, seated near the back, rose slowly. This is manipulation. He's turning a child against his own family. The child saw what he saw, Connor said. And my mother survived what she survived. Explain that to the council, Morayo. Silence stretched across the square. Finally, the head elder spoke. Adewale. Look at your mother. Tell this council, with your own voice, what happened 3 days ago. Adewale's hands trembled in his lap. He looked at Morayo, who would not meet his eyes. He looked at his mother, alive, watching him with an expression he could not read. His voice broke. I buried her. I thought it was ritual. I thought. You thought your wife, the elder said slowly, which is why we now turn to her. Morayo tried to speak, tried to explain the land, the investors, the years of careful planning, but every sentence unraveled further under the weight of the evidence already laid bare. By the time the elders reached their decision, the square had gone completely silent, waiting. Morayo is banished from this land, effective immediately. She will never hold claim to any property under this family's name, now or through any future petition. Morayo's composure finally cracked. Ode, say something. He said nothing. He could not look at her at all anymore. The final twist came a week later, when the family gathered at Mama Busy's house to discuss the land's future. Adewale sat quietly in the corner, waiting for the conversation to turn to him, waiting for some acknowledgement of the inheritance he had always assumed would be his. Instead, Mama Busy placed the ownership documents in front of Connor. I'm signing the land to you. Adewale's head snapped up. Mama, I'm your firstborn. You are, she said quietly. And you buried me alive to please a woman who never loved you, only what you could give her. Mama, please, I made a mistake, I was manipulated. You were, she agreed. But your brother, who I have not spoken to in 6 years, who I had every reason to distrust, came back and dug me out of the earth with his bare hands. He protected a child's testimony. He built a case that saved this family's land and this family's name. She looked at Adewale, her voice softening slightly, the anger giving way to something heavier, sadder. I forgive you, Ode. I do. But forgiveness and inheritance are not the same thing. Only one of my sons proved, when it mattered most, that he could carry what your father built. Adewale sat in silence, forgiving and utterly emptied at the same time, understanding, finally, that mercy without consequence had never been on the table. If this story taught you anything, let it be this. The people who claim to love you the most can sometimes be the ones leading you toward your worst decisions. Choose carefully who you allow to whisper in your ear. If you made it to the end of this story, comment, "I stayed till the end," so I know exactly how many of you were with Mama Busy from that grief to this ending. And if this story moved you, subscribe, because next week's story might just be the one that breaks you completely.